given to these workers, 41 of whom have been trapped inside this tunnel at this Silkyara Baralkot tunnel, where they've been stuck inside this tunnel for almost 3 weeks now, 17th day today. And at exactly 5 minutes past 7, the first major breakthrough happened when the pipe cleared all the debris and reached the place where beyond 58 meters, these workers were struck. Now, the first 3 workers have been pulled out. Initial first aid has been given to them. Some of them will be taken to the nearest hospital, which is about 30 odd kilometers away. And if there are any people who require more intensive medical care, then they will be airlifted and taken to the district hospital. Let me go across to Anshul Singh, my colleague, who's also been tracking every twist and turn of this story. Anshul, so these 3 people who have been pulled out, these 3 workers we can now confirm have been pulled out. What is it that doctors will be looking for? Obviously, these workers have spent the better part of the last 17 days in temperatures which are much lower than outside temperatures. Their vision needs to adjust to daylight. What are things that the doctors will be looking for as they stabilize these workers? And then if some of them need further intensive medical care, then where will they be taken to?
So yes, what we are being told that the initial medical checkup has been done, and the first worker is almost on the verge of being loaded into that ambulance, and from here they would be taken to a makeshift hospital that has been made out here in Chiliani Sor, which is approximately 30 odd kilometers from this location. And post that, if at all more medical attention is needed, then these people would be taken in ambulances to AIIMS Rishikesh through a green corridor that will be made, just to make sure that no obstruction comes in the way. Initially, the plan was to airlift them. A Chinook helicopter was also placed in Chiliani Sor, that if at all any person needs that help, then they would be airlifted, and a 15-minute flight would take them to AIIMS Rishikesh. But yes, at this point in time, since it is the night, the helicopter would not fly, and hence it has been decided that if at all anyone's require any special medical attention, they would be taken over there. But yes, the next few minutes are going to be very, very crucial, as the visuals that we were waiting for those ambulances to come out one by one, that process is going to start within the next few minutes. So yes, all right,
Anshul, just give me a word. More reactions coming in. These disaster relief force workers who are coming out are giving us updates as to what is going on, the rescue operation. Let's listen in.
हमारे नागरिकों के लिए भगवान से दुआ करो, और भगवान ने वो लोगों की दुआ कबूल कर ली और सफलता के
locals there absolutely ecstatic. They are singing praises to God because remember, Uttarakashi is a temple town, a holy town. Now 3 workers have been rescued, and it's a massive moment this after 17 days, and all of India's eyes were on these 41 workers. Now 3 of them have been rescued. The process of the others is currently going on. Anshul Singh is there still with us, and he's been tracking every twist and turn of this story. Anshul, just walk us through, how long do we expect for all 41 workers to be rescued from that tunnel?
So yes, in the next hour and a half, we are expecting that the entire operation would come to an end. All these people would be coming out. I've just sent visuals, Zaka, of the first person coming out, where the first visuals are out where the first person has finally come out of the tunnel, and these visuals actually tell that how confident was actually the chief minister and General VK Singh, who are both.
हाँ सब एकदम फिट, एकदम खा पी के फिट, एकदम मस्त है सब। अभी निकाला जा रहा है उनको, अभी 3-4 लोग निकल गए, 4-5 लोग। हाँ, एक एक करके निकाला जा रहा है उनको, एक एक करके बाहर आ रहे हैं सब। कोई मेरा नाम है फिरोज। हमारा सुरंग बनाने उनको निकालने का रास्ता बनाने का काम था हमारा। हाँ, हमें 26 घंटे लगे हैं पूरे।
26 घंटे में
जी।
आपने क्या रेड माइनिंग की थी?
हाथ से
हाँ,
सब 12
लोग।
अच्छा। और कितना अभी जो है इसमें से कितने लोग आ गए हैं?
7 लोग आ गए अंकल जी अभी।
कितनी देर तक आप लोग करते रहे काम?
हम तो कंटिन्यू करते रहे, दिन और रात करा हमने 26 घंटे तक। हाँ, सोने का कोई वो नहीं लिया हमने बिल्कुल भी।
जब तक
कंटिन्यू चलाया 26 घंटे काम।
जब तक हमने आराम नहीं लिया।
क्या नाम क्या है आपका?
सौरभ।
कहाँ से आए हो?
दिल्ली से।
All right. Rat miners, and spare a thought for them. They were digging by hand. The last 10 meters or so were dug by hand over the last 24 hours because the metal debris had been stuck in that pipeline, and the only way they could reach the trapped workers was by digging through hand. Rat mining, which is an outlawed practice here in India by the National Green Tribunal. Now I can confirm that 5 workers are out. 5 workers are out of the 41. 36 still remain inside, but the people there are extremely hopeful that they can get all of them out in the next couple of hours. We have more reactions of the SDRF and NDRF personnel who are involved in this rescue operation.
वो बहुत ज्यादा उन लोगों उसने टाइम हमारा वेस्ट किया।
अच्छा, उससे पहले
हाँ, उसी वजह से ऑगर भी थोड़ा वो हो गया था। अगर वो चीजें ना आती तो शायद ऑगर बहुत पहले काम कर देता, बट वहाँ मैनुअली काम जरूरी था। मैनुअली हम लोगों ने सब कुछ कर दिया वहाँ
कितने
पे।
लोग की टीम थी आज?
सर 12 लोगों की टीम थी हमारी।
कितना टाइम लगा इसको?
हमें अप्रोक्स 26 आवर्स लगे। हम 26 आवर्स हमने इनको बाहर निकाल लिया जी। बहुत ज्यादा मेहनत की हमारे लड़कों ने, बहुत ही ज्यादा मशीनरी वर्क हो। और
very important.
BBC. Sir, I'm with BBC.
Sir, how can you explain this
Can you tell me?
about this operation? Sir, this is very big success, sir.
मर गया गिर रहे थे।
All right, so the first pictures of those who've been rescued. Now we can confirm to you that 5 workers have been rescued out of the 41. 5 of them have been taken out of the tunnel. Initial medical checkup is going on, after which they will be taken to the hospital. But what a moment this is, not just for those 41 workers, not just for their families who've been waiting anxiously with bated breath for any news, any good news of their loved ones, but the entire nation was hooked on to what was happening there in Uttarakashi, praying with the families, praying with the concerned loved ones for the well-being of these 41 workers. And today, 17 days since the workers were first trapped. Remember, they were first trapped on Diwali Day. 17 days since then, they are now being pulled out one after another. First 5 workers have now been pulled out. A remaining 36 are being pulled out right now. Let's listen in to more reactions coming in.
Out already, and they're coming out gradually now.
All the member of rescue team is very happy, sir,
Yes,
including CM.
yes.
And you, sir, and you, sir.
Yes,
Sir, from the first day I am taking your bite. That's why I want to. You can speak something.
The 5 workers have been pulled out. This is a massive moment, not just in this story, not just for those workers who were stuck there for the better part of almost 3 weeks now. 17 days they've been stuck there. And these are the first pictures from inside. You can see how the workers are being pulled out. And clearly, what a moment this is. Pushkar Dhami, the Chief Minister, has been there for the better part of the last week or so. General VK Singh, you can see him in the pictures as well. These are the first pictures of those workers who've been rescued from this tunnel. They've been trapped there for the last 17 days. Now we can confirm that 5 workers have been pulled out. This is a massive testimony to the hard work, to the patience, Really, they were tested to the very hilt. Over the last 24 hours, they were digging manually by hand. These rat miners who were brought in from Bihar and Jharkhand, they were digging by hand because they couldn't dig through machines anymore. The auger machine had broken. The drill of the auger machine had broken. Those drill bits had to be removed manually by hand, and the rest of the debris, about 8 to 10 meters, had to be dug by hand. So for the last 26 hours, hand digging was happening there, and finally they have found success. They have found the trapped workers. 5 of the 41 have been rescued, and we're given to understand that in the next couple of hours, the remaining 36 will be rescued as well. Let me go across to Sudhir Krishna, former Urban Secretary, who's joining us. Raghav Chandra is former chairman of the NHAI. Mr. Chandra, all right, Mr. Sudhir Krishna is there with us on the line now. Mr. Sudhir Krishna, this is a story that everyone in the country, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, has been following. What are your thoughts as we see these pictures? This was a historic rescue operation, and I'm pleased to inform our viewers that all 41 workers are in reasonable health, and that all 41 will be rescued over the next couple of hours. 5 have already been rescued. What are your thoughts as you see these pictures?
I think it's a moment of great happiness, satisfaction, and pride also. Happiness and satisfaction about the safe retrieval of the trapped miners, and also a pride in the sense that our agencies worked hard, whether it is NDRF or whether it is other agencies, state and local and national agencies, they worked hard. So to that extent, it is really a matter of satisfaction and pride. But having said that, I think there's a lot more that we have to see just beyond this rescuing operation. Why this whole thing happened, why the situation happened, and whether it can happen again, and how to avoid this situation happening. There are a lot of issues here,
Yeah.
And, it also gave us a feeling that our country has respect for life, because end to end, the whole country was concerned about the trapped persons. On the other hand, when we see that almost 1.5 lakh people die every year in road accident, one starts feeling that whether we really value life. But today we got the feeling that yes, our country has respect for life.
I think that's a great point that you make, Mr. Krishna, because it was said that in India, life is cheap. But I don't think anyone who has seen this saga for the better part of the last almost 3 weeks now, 17 days, these workers have been trapped inside. No one will say that in India, life comes cheap. They've moved heaven and earth to bring these workers back. Yes, of course, they faced all kinds of hurdles. The machine drilling met with this hurdle of the auger bit, the auger drill being broken. It was broken into many multiple pieces. They could not retrieve that by another machine. They had to then pull it out by hand. If you can just take us through, what kind of ordeal, not just these workers who were trapped inside had to go through. I'll come to that in one moment. But the rescue operation itself, there were experts who were flown in from the United States, experts who were flown in from Australia, and they were overseeing this operation. Multiple agencies were involved in it, and clearly they finally found this major success. And particularly in the last 26 hours, when these rat miners had to be brought in from Bihar and Jharkhand, and they had to literally rummage through the debris with their bare hands to cover the last 10 meters or so. Yes, Mr. Krishna, yeah. You have to unmute, sir. Please unmute. Yeah, thank you.
They have done really a wonderful job. There is no doubt about it. And, this is not at all the prescribed procedure for mining or for tunneling of, rat hole mining, etc. is not at all prescribed. And it is very, I would say it is a matter of great surprise that we had to fall back on this. And our standards are different. The Bureau of Indian Standard has set standards for mining, both excavation type as well as tunneling. And now I think they have to design standards for rat hole mining also. But then all this put together gives an impression that our agencies are not really, they need a lot of capacity building to understand what the geology is like, what the Himalayan geology is like. Because, 16 days ago when this started on 12th of this month, and we were given to understand that within 2 days these trapped miners will be retrieved. But 2 days kept on increasing and then so on, and they could not fathom what exactly was the problem, and every time there was experimentation going on. So this gives I mean, it's like I'm just saying that silver lining of the dark cloud is that we got an opportunity to reflect on our strength and weaknesses, and
All right.
work
So
on our
clearly,
weaknesses.
just to bring our viewers who are just joining us, the big story that's coming out of Uttarakashi is that 5 workers have been rescued. These workers have now been rushed to the hospital. Initial medical treatment has been meted to them at the tunnel site itself. Their blood pressure needs to be stabilized. Their vital parameters need to be checked. This is the first video of the first worker being pulled out from the tunnel after 17 days. First of 41. You can see Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Dhami there. You can see Minister of State VK Singh also there. And they've been there for the better part of the last 3 or 4 days. Certainly the Chief Minister has been there for over a week now, monitoring these rescue operations. And clearly, what a moment this is for the first worker who was pulled out from this tunnel. They've been stuck there for the last 17 days. They're a disparate group of people. They were building this tunnel at the Silkiara village. This was the Silkiara Baralkot stretch. Of course, like Mr. Krishna was saying, there are a lot of unanswered questions about, ecologically sensitive terrain and building large infrastructure projects there. Remember, this Yeah.
they will be eventually be taken to AIMS Rishikesh. So Zaka, we are getting some more good news. 10 people have now been taken out, is what we are being told
All right.
from inside the tunnel. So yes, the first lot of 10 people has been completed. 10 people are out now, and
Okay,
within
so
the next few
10
minutes, the
workers
entire
are
41
out of the group of 41 that got stuck under this tunnel in the Silkiara Baralkot section of the Uttarakashi tunnel that was being built by these workers, these laborers. 10 workers have now been rescued. Like you've been hearing, NDRF and SDRF personnel there. Over the next hour and a half or so, they expect that all the 41 workers will be brought out. 10 workers have now been brought out, and these 10 workers, like I said, like Anshul has been saying, their vital parameters, their blood pressure, all of that will be checked. The ones who need further intensive medical care will be taken to the hospital. The others, of course, are being given saline drips and ORS. Of course, they'll also have to adjust. The temperatures inside the tunnel was extremely low as compared to the outside temperature where they are now. Also, these people have not been exposed to sunlight for the better part of the last 17 days. But what a saga this has been. And you can see the first video there on the right side of your screen. Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, along with Union Minister, Ms. General V.K. Singh. As you can see, the first set of workers being brought out. We can now confirm to you that 10 workers have been pulled out from this tunnel. Now that number has gone up to 15. So, folks, this is happening very, very fast, very, very quickly there at Uttarakashi, at the Silkiara Baralkot tunnel. 15 workers have now been rescued. That is almost, in fact, more than a third of the 41 who were trapped there for the last 17 days. Anshul, just walk us through what this means for the locals there as well. I'm sure they were just as tense, just as worried over the last 2 weeks since the story came to the national consciousness. What does this mean for the locals there? We can see some of them distributing sweets. There's sloganeering. People are worshipping at the temples. Fireworks are going off. What does this mean for this little sleepy village called Silkiara?
So yes, this absolutely means a lot of happiness for the people out here in Silkiara. In fact, the local peoples were expecting this to happen. They were praying day in and day out to their local gods over here, and that is the reason why this makeshift temple was also built over here. Over the last 24 to 36 hours, constant havan has been going inside, has been going in and around the tunnel. Point is what we have been what we have seen over here. So yes, the situation out here is absolutely fine, and now we are expecting that within the next few minutes all these people would now finally be taken out. The official information that has been given to us is that abhi tak कुल 13 श्रमिक सुरक्षित बाहर निकाले जा चुके हैं. Is the official information that has been circulated to us at this point in time. So yes, one after the other, people are being taken out safely, and as we had predicted that it would almost take 2.5 to 3 minutes for a person to actually come out from the tunnel, and that is something that is proving to be true. The NDRF and the SDRF are making sure that there is absolutely no time that is wasted to take these people out. And yes, celebrations have started over here. I heard a few fireworks also happening right at this spot. In fact, claps and celebrations and sloganeering have all started to happen over here. This is the spot from where the ambulances will be taken out within the next few minutes. You can see the crowd that has gathered over here. These are all the people who are locals over here, and they are out here in cold just to experience this historic moment that will be written in the history of this country. One of the biggest rescue operations going on for 17 days, one of the toughest rescue operations. One after the other, hurdles came, solutions were found, new hurdles came, new solutions were found. Now finally we are reporting what in fact we wanted to report for the last many days. Finally these people are out. 13 people have already come out. In fact, the rescuers are now confident that within the next hour or so, each and every person would be taken out. So this is the big piece of positive news that the entire country was waiting to hear for the last 17 days, and that is what is happening at this point in time. History is being made, and we are a part of this history now.
Not just for those 41 who've been trapped. Like I said, the entire nation was watching this with bated breath, following every twist and turn. They hit metal barriers. Those had to be broken. Drilling machines were brought in from outside. There was this auger machine that was brought in from outside that was, rummaging through the debris. And then the auger machine drill itself broke a couple of days back. And then they had to go in through pipelines and manually remove the debris of the auger machine drill that had broken. And then the last 8 to 10 meters or so had to be dug through with hand because they couldn't use any machines in those last 8 to 10 meters. You can see how elated the people there are in Uttarakashi, in Silkiara. I'm sure their families are absolutely elated. You can see people distributing sweets. You can see fireworks going up in the sky there. And that's because everyone was watching the story, almost following this like a family member of theirs had been trapped in. These 41 were India's brothers who were trapped in that tunnel there in Uttarakashi. Raghav Chandra is former chairman of the NHAI. Thank you very much, sir, for speaking with us. Your thoughts as these workers are being pulled out one by one. Clearly, they are relieved to be out. We all are relieved that they are all out. Just walk us through what this means, because for 17 days, as my colleague Anshul there is reporting from the location, there was one obstacle after another. And for each of those obstacles, new solutions had to be found and were found.
So this is something extremely joyful for not only these workers, for their families, but for the entire nation and for all the agencies who are involved in construction, because such mishaps do occur. And to be able to unite, to be able to have a very organized and methodical mission mode rescue mission is in itself a very positive development, which we have hitherto not seen happening in India, where such tragedies or mishaps occur in isolation. But here the entire nation got together. So not only from the optics part of it, but also from the professionalism which was displayed in conducting this entire operation, calling in foreign experts, using the best possible techniques, and to be able to get it done. That is a very, very happy, very joyful, very satisfying, very relieving, and also a moment of great jubilation for everybody who's connected with the construction sector or has been connected with the construction sector.
Just talk us through, there used to be a time when it was said that life in India is cheap. I mean, the often cited statistic is more than 1 lakh people die in road accidents. But these 41 workers, like I said, it was not just the fact that the rescue teams were brought in from different cities. There was one American who was sort of overseeing it. There was an Australian national who was brought in. The entire country sort of came together following these developments. Our various agencies, the NDRF, SDRF, were strongly involved in this rescue operation. But the fact that, the system went out of its way, it pulled out all stops to ensure the safety and to ensure that these 41 were rescued, hale and hearty, alive and well. Talk us through that and why that's a change from years past.
You see, in the past, we've had, we've heard of the Latur tragedy, the Chasnala tragedy, and various other such mishaps where people have lost their lives in large numbers because the systems for safety, the systems for rescue were not so developed. But this is the sign of a nation which is advancing towards becoming a developed country, that every such mishap or every such ordeal is taken seriously, not only by the agency which is actively involved in conducting that operation, but by the entire nation. And whether it is the media or whether it is the civil administration, the army or the NGOs, everyone in a single unit, in a unitary step, they echoed that, the first target should be to rescue the workers and to get them out before further post-mortem or analysis is done on anything like this. And so it's a very, very positive augury for all of us that we are being more evolved in our approach towards such matters. And disaster management is taking an important part of our official and administrative thinking. And hopefully this will set standards, apart from taking remedial steps, which must indeed be taken, and investigations, blah, blah, etc. But we must also learn from this that we must set in place systems for operations and rescues, and we should have solid SOP prepared after this.
You make a very valid point. All right, Anshul Singh, my colleague, has an update, so let me go across to him. Anshul, so 15 workers rescued is the last figure that we have. What further details can you share with us from Ground Zero?
So yes, the official information that we have at this point in time, 13 workers have been taken out, and at this point in time, the pilot vehicle is now trying to clear this route through which the ambulances will be taken out. You can see in these visuals that how the operation has just now started. A green corridor is being made right here to make sure that when the movement of ambulances start, that happens in a free manner and there is no obstruction that is present over there. The crowd that you are seeing that have gathered over here, this is the crowd of local people. In fact, announcements are being made for people to move aside. And what we have been told at this point in time, that as the people started coming out, Bharat Mata Ki Jai was some of the slogans that were raised inside the tunnel as well. You can imagine the kind of hard work that has gone inside from at least 15 different companies that were working over here round the clock. More than 1,000 workers deployed on the ground, making sure that this entire rescue operation becomes a success, and that is becoming a reality now. All that hard work that has been put in over the last 17 days, that is becoming a reality now. Now this area is now being cleared of people so that a green corridor could be made, and the ambulances that would then be taken out, these ambulances are taken out without any obstruction at this point in time, because the main focus of the rescuers is to make sure that all these people are taken to safety at the earliest, and through the green corridor that has been made over here. So yes, a lot of developments happening with every passing minute, and we are expecting that within the next half an hour this entire operation would come to an end, and each and every person who is inside the tunnel would eventually come out.
The word that we're getting, that in the next hour or so, all of them will be accounted for and all of them will be brought out. I'm also joined by Mr. B.S. Singla. He's a former CGM of NHAI. As we look at these pictures, and there's moments of joy there in Silkiara. People are celebrating, sweets are being distributed, fireworks are going off. Obviously, the entire nation has been praying for the well-being of these 41 workers. Walk us through, what are the lessons that we should be learning from such large infrastructure projects, Mr. Singla, because questions will need to be asked. Maybe not today, but certainly when the dust settles on this, questions need to be asked about these large infrastructure projects and ecologically sensitive zones that are being built. What are the safeguards and the checks and balances that need to be put in place so that a situation like this can be avoided in the future?
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Singla, can you hear me? All right, let me go across to Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain. He's a member of the National Disaster Management Authority, and he's been constantly in touch with the rescue teams on the ground. He's been constantly on a daily basis, been updating the media on the progress in this rescue effort so far. General Hasnain, first of all, many, many congratulations to you and your team. It's a fantastic job done, like I said, and
of India, which has got its act together completely on this entire operation. I don't think any time I have seen the manner in which every department of government of India has come together. So let me tell you, starting from the 12th of November, when the first news came in, I think it was the Prime Minister's Principal Secretary who took the first call on this and put across. He knew that some of the best people involved with infrastructure development are there in the Indian Railways, who've been involved with bridging, with tunneling and things like that. They were the ones the first access was made to. And thereafter, progressively, as advice kept coming in, more and more departments, more and more ministries came in. The Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has been obviously the core organization, which has been deeply involved. The Secretary has been at the site for almost the entire time. The subsidiaries of the ministry themselves, the various authorities have been there, the NHAI being one of the main ones. Besides that, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Cabinet Secretariat, of course, the NDMA, Ministry of Health, Almost every department has come together, not to forget the state governments.
Yeah.
Who have all enabled these green corridors to be given for the movement of massive equipment from different parts of India through various roads leading up all the way to Uttarakhand. It's been a huge challenge. Without the Indian Air Force's effort, nothing could really have been achieved, because they were the ones who were always standby, moving all kinds of awkward equipment into this area. I think the presence of leadership, starting with the Prime Minister, who has been giving directions from moment to moment. He's not only been receiving a feedback, not only monitoring, but also giving directions. Along with him, the Prime Minister's office, the PMO, led by the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, who has taken it upon himself to physically visit the site, speak to the workers, take a full feedback of every option which was being exercised in this entire operation. All this has been done there. The Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, General V.K. Singh, who's camped there. Now, his presence, for example, made all the difference, because decisions could be taken on the spot. And if additional resources were required, they could be whistled up. For example, the Magna cutter and the laser cutter, etc. At night, who would think of going to a particular agency and organizing its move of all that within the next 12 hours? All this was possible because the decision makers were at the right place at the right time. The communications were very good. DOT, lots of things with the Department of Telecom for being able to strengthen the communications at the spot. It was very, very weak in the beginning, was subsequently built up. And then, of course, the NDRF, the Army engineers who have been there right through. And I think you cannot forget the rat miners. Very indiscreet kind of term, but look at the manner of risk that they are capable of taking. Going through this tunnel, going and doing the last 10 meters of tunneling with a manual effort, cutting, removing iron, steel implements in the middle, and then finally getting the breakthrough. I think it's a monumental effort.
Walk us through the challenges that
I'll be the last word I will say is for the media. This effort would not have been possible without the media putting across the right picture, the right story, the right expectation to the people of India. It was not unrealistic at any stage.
General Hussain, could you walk us through the various obstacles that you had to face, this rescue effort had to face over the last 2 weeks, whether it was encountering metal obstacles for which special plasma cutters had to be brought in. And then, of course, like you said, over the last 26-30 hours or so, you had got to a point where, because the auger had broken and it had to be manually cleared out, and then the last 10 meters or so had to be manually dug in. Just walk us through the various obstacles that you and your team faced and how you overcame that in the last 2 weeks.
See, Rakam, what was happening was that in the beginning, perhaps, people were having unrealistic expectations that this mission, this operation is going to get over in a jiffy. Slowly, I think it was through the efforts of the higher leadership that it was made evident to people that this was for the long haul. And that's where the media came in very, very handy. Second thing was a very fine decision taken that we will use multiple options, bring in simultaneity into the whole operation. Now, it's easier said than done. For example, if you go to do top drilling, you got to have a road to be able to take the drills on top. The BRO came in and immediately started doing this. Similarly, there were many others who were involved in these kind of preparatory efforts to make sure that the equipment came at the right place. When everything was, when the first option started getting exercised through the horizontal probe which was taking place on the Silkyara side, everyone was very hopeful. In fact, in the beginning, there were unexpected, unrealistic expectations that we will break through on this first day itself, but subsequently we realized that the auger had its limitations. And then came the problem that we really didn't have any other options to go horizontally. Someone then obviously thought about this kind of a thing, how to first of all get the auger out. That was the biggest technical obstacle in our way. Getting the magna cutters and plasma cutters, etc. An effort was made in, the technicians went in, brought us all these things out. Throughout the operation, I think one of the major things, lessons learned, was that there were lines open with lots and lots of recommendations, lots and lots of approaches being made to offer services, offer talent, etc. My telephone was flooded completely. Lots and lots of things. There were people who had a lot of experience, who were volunteers to go there on the spot. For example, there's General Harpal Singh of the ex-DG Border Roads, who's there on the spot. The moment I learned of his willingness to go, we spoke about the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, who enabled it in a couple of moments. He has been there for the last 4 or 5 days, offering his services, offering his advice. So this is what brings in an emergency. There is nothing like this. There were huge number of obstacles. En route. But I think it's the overall cooperation, the offer of their services free of cost, which has enabled this.
General Hassan, there used to be a time not so long ago where it was said that in India life is cheap. But this episode over the last 17 days has illustrated that when the system wants to and it puts its mind to, then it can go to any length to save even one single life. Experts were brought in from Australia, from America, micro-tunneling experts. And like you said, the last 10 meters was dug through with hand. So, just the lessons learned from this complex operation over the last 2 weeks plus, what would that be in your mind, top of mind?
Firstly, Zakat, I have been reminding a lot of people, and I did it in the media conference today, that a lot of people in India have never read the 10-point agenda of the Honorable Prime Minister on disaster management. And in that, one of the points is very clear. Every operation, every disaster management opportunity like this must not be without the lessons learned. The lessons must be learned, analyzed properly, documented, and perhaps put out as guidelines. Now, that is exactly what is necessary to be done in this. I think the first major strategic lesson is that you do not underestimate a disaster. Right from the moment in the beginning, you should start treating a disaster as a disaster. If you treat it as something which is very small, which can be just wished away, you will never be able to get together the resources in the time frame required. Respect lives. 41 workers who may be considered by a lot of people as inconsequential. People who had no influence, no outreach. But here the government made sure that there was no requirement of an outreach by them. The government would do the outreach to ensure that their lives were saved. The moment that message went out, Also, in such emergency conditions, the psychosocial aspect of keeping people hopeful. The relatives were brought there. The district administration got his act together. The state government got his act together. The health department got his act together. And you found almost everyone who was required was there. The DOT put in a line and time. Line communication was put up by the SDRF of the Uttarakhand government. And you found people talking. And the workers were talking to their relatives,
who was involved in this entire mission. The official release has also now come out. After 17 days, all the 41 workers have come out, is what officially has been confirmed. And yes, this is the big development. The last few workers are now being checked inside.
को सीखने के लिए बहुत कुछ मिला है। अब हम लोग इसके बारे में टनल का सेफ्टी ऑडिट भी करने वाले हैं और टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ कैसे हम लोग ज्यादा से अच्छे टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग कर सके, ये भी कोशिश करेंगे। हिमालय का स्टार्टा बहुत ही फ्राजिल है और इसीलिए स्वाभाविक रूप से वहाँ काम करना भी बहुत कठिन है, पर इसके ऊपर हमको उपाय ढूंढना होगा। हम निश्चित रूप से उपाय ढूंढेंगे। इसी विश्वास के साथ फिर से एक बार जिन जिन लोगों ने सहयोग किया उनको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और विशेष रूप से जो मजदूर है उनके परिवारों को भी मेरी बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, क्योंकि वो बेचारे वापस आए हैं। हमारे लिए सबके लिए बहुत खुशी की बात है। उनके उज्जवल भविष्य की कामना। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
That was the Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari, there, closely following the developments over the last 17 days. These are pictures of Pushkar Singh Dhami, placing these workers, leading them up to the ambulances. He's greeted every one of the 41 who have now been rescued. The last 5 or 6 are being given immediate medical attention, after which they will also be put in this ambulance and taken to that makeshift hospital in Chilyansura, which is about 30-odd kilometers away. But what a moment of pride this is, because remember, disaster management is now a full-fledged science in this country. India has also pitched for the International Coalition of Disaster Management. Right from the tsunami in 2004, there's been concerted efforts every time there is a cyclone, an earthquake, or of course, this kind of a tragedy in which 41 workers found themselves trapped inside a tunnel. Various disaster management agencies from the NDRF, the SDRF, the National Disaster Management Authority have all come together, learnt lessons. In this instance, even foreign experts were flown in to make sure that every worker was saved, that no one was left behind, that not one life was lost. So let me bring in Brigadier Vinod Datta, former senior consultant with the NIDM. B.S. Singla is former CGM with the NHAI. He's also joining us. Brigadier Datta, in an effort such as this, you need multiple agencies, state agencies, central agencies, agencies from the defense forces coordinating in an absolutely almost perfect manner. And I spoke to General Hasnain a moment ago, and every day there was a new challenge, a new solution had to be found out. What are the lessons learned in the manner in which all of these various agencies and the best talent in those agencies were put to use to rescue these 41 workers who were trapped there for the last 17 days?
Well, Jaka, first of all, congratulations for such a great achievement by the nation. And I want to highlight one thing, that unless all the agencies, they fire together, we are not going to hit the target. And this is what was done. Like I have, overseen disaster management operations for 3.5 years when I was in the Ministry of Defense in headquarter IDS. And you see, such coordination was unparalleled. And it is a lesson to be learned that unless you synergize, unless you cooperate, unless you have federal corporatism, you are not going to achieve anything. And this has been done very nicely. Now, a few points which are takeaways is that we must cater for such kind of equipment which is there. Because there are so many, like there was one tunnel operation in Himachal, which I supervised. I mean, the wastage of these cutters and the equipment exploitation is so much that we have to cater for the, equipment casualty also. And somehow, I mean, we were lucky that the green corridors were provided by the railways, by Indian Air Force, and the BRO and the Army engineers have also done a wonderful job, besides NDRF and SDRF and other agencies. But what is required is that we should not only restrict ourselves to only lessons learned. We must translate them into actions, that is, lessons applied. That is what I always, have been emphasizing, because you see, all these after-action reports or lessons learned, they will be gathering dust after some time. But we should, ask the people or the disaster management practitioners or the people who are involved in this construction to follow them. And the regulatory authorities, they should facilitate, and they should be able to, implement them on ground. We should be, proactive rather than being reactive. But, God has been kind. The weather played a major role, and, all the, activities were taken simultaneously. And hats off to these mining, excavators who have done a wonderful job. And that's why there is a kahawat in Hindi. They say, "Jahan kaam aave, sui kahan kare talwar." So we should not forget that, and we should know that everything is fair in love and war. And that is what it has been proved.
Let me also go across to Mr. B.S. Singla. He's the former CGM with the NHAI. For the NHAI, and you heard the minister also a moment ago, this was truly a test, because this was a project, an important project, a sensitive project as well, in a highly sensitive ecological zone. The fact that these these workers were trapped, and the system pulled all stops to ensure that not one person was left behind, not one life was lost. What signal does that send out? You have workers who are coming from different states. In this instance itself, out of those 41, there were people from Jharkhand, from Bihar, from Assam, from Bengal, all of whom were trapped inside. It's almost like a national effort that went in to try and rescue these people. What are your thoughts, as this was a crucial test for the NHAI as well, not just for those who were involved in the immediate rescue operation, but the NHAI, the ministry also, and officials from the ministry, the secretary, the minister, MOS in charge there. They were all on site, on camp for the last 4 or 5 days, just being there to ensure that these workers are pulled out safe and sound.
First of all, I congratulate the entire team who has worked on this rescue operations. I will focus on why this failure occurred, what are the reasons, and how we can avoid such kind of operation in future, such kind of failures. The tunnels, the most important part is the soil investigation. Suppose in a 4-kilometer tunnel, generally the soil investigation carried out at just 4 spots. The soil characteristics changes from point to point. There should be proper soil investigation and proper designing of the tunnels. There should be proper support system. If a proper support system with designing is provided at the site, no such kind of failure occurs. The reasons of failures can be presence of the shear zone, fault zone, thrust zone. There can be difficulty in the terrain conditions and folded rock. There can be swelling of the claying soil, which can be controlled by the umbrella technique. The tunnel conditions are so that there can be gone. These can be studied with the modern techniques: tunnel seismic prediction, ground penetration radar. There are so many reasons of failures. The fracture zones, sometimes they are parallel to the tunnel, sometimes they are perpendicular to the tunnel. Suppose these are parallel to the tunnel supporting system comes closer and closer. When we go for blasting, there can be heaves.
Okay, Mr. Singla, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think we've just got another piece of breaking news. Prime Minister Modi has just spoken to the Uttarakhand Chief Minister, Mr. Pushkar Singh Dhami, who, of course, was camped there for the better part of the last week or so. The last 17 days, these 41 workers were trapped inside. Prime Minister Modi and the PMO have been closely tracking this. The Principal Secretary has been there for the last couple of days. The former senior advisor to the PMO, Mr. Kulbe, was also closely involved in this rescue effort. Now the Prime Minister, who's been monitoring this on a daily basis, has just spoken moments ago to Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami. Let me go across to Aman Sharma, our political editor, who's got more details on this. Just walk us through not just this phone call, but also how various senior officials in the PMO have been on ground and tracking every twist and turn in this rescue operation for the last 17 days. Aman.
Yes, Dhaka. So obviously it's a very, very well coordinated operation, though it took 17 days, but the government did not give up its resolve. In fact, the Prime Minister has just spoken to Uttarakhand CM Pushkar Dhami, taken an update on the rescue efforts, taken an update on the health of the workers who all have been rescued, asked him about whether they are being taken to the medical facility. All care should be taken of them. The Prime Minister has asked the CM. He has also tweeted out how it is a great moment that everybody has been rescued safely, securely. He said that I want to salute the courage and the patience of all the 41 laborers who were stuck inside for 17 long days. And he said it's a moment of great relief that after a long wait, everybody has been rescued safely. And what government sources also tell us, Zaka, that how the entire effort was, coordinated right from the top. The Prime Minister was in constant touch with not just the CM, but other stakeholders as well. He had deputed 3 top officials, the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Mr. P.K. Mishra, who's also one of the country's foremost disaster management experts, former Army Chief and now Union Minister V.K. Singh, who has become sort of an expert, handling such crises in the past. Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla, who was playing a key role in coordinating the rescue efforts. All 3 were sent to the Silkyara tunnel site to give some vital tips to the rescuers to monitor the effort. Also, how some strategic thinking was employed in the whole process. They were close to 16 to 17 agencies involved in this entire rescue effort, from the PMO to the NDRF to the SDRF, the state chief minister's office, all these agencies, be it in the Indian Air Force, the BRO, everybody's worked together in this, international drilling experts, rescue agencies, and even the local rat mining laborers, whom many had forgotten about, all were brought together to play a very key role in getting in. Also, government officials telling us this explains the whole of the government getting into a mission mode. This is like a whole of government approach, doing all possible help which can be provided for a mission focused strategy. Everything has been employed in it so that the government's response was swift, efficient, effective, and most importantly also, Zaka, the PM's direct and personal involvement in such crisis management. He was in direct as attached with the stakeholders, sent his trusted aides and ministers to the ground. That helps in the rescue effort, that helps in the direction, that ensures there is no confusion and there is quicker decision making. And all of that has contributed in coming together in what we are seeing, this successful evacuation, rescue of these 41 laborers after 17 long days from the Silkyara tunnel, Zaka.
The Prime Minister has also just tweeted moments ago, and I want to read some portions of it. The success of the rescue operation of our laborer brothers in Uttarakashi is something that makes everyone emotional. I want to say to our friends who were trapped in that tunnel that your courage and patience is inspiring the entire nation. I wish you all well and good health. It's a matter of great satisfaction that after a long wait, these folks can now meet their loved ones. The patience and courage of these families, which they've shown in this challenging time, is also something that needs to be appreciated. I also salute the spirit of all the people associated with this rescue operation. Their bravery and determination has given a new lease of life to our laborer brothers who were trapped there for the last 17 days. Everyone involved in this mission has set an amazing example of teamwork and good humanity. Let me also go across to Mr. Naveen Bhatnagar. He's former DG NDRF, who's now joining us, former DIG NDRF. Mr. Bhatnagar, like my colleague Aman was saying, you know, the fact that multiple agencies from different arms of government had to come in for this, whether it was NDRF, SDRF, members of the NDMA, the Chief Minister was camped out there for the last 1 week or so. You had the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways involved as well. The NHAI was involved. The railways were making green corridors for these plasma cutters and specialized metal cutters that were being brought in from different states. The Indian Air Force was flying in specialized equipment as well. When you have such multiple agencies having to come together, the entire system has to pull its weight. That's when you taste success. Just walk us through how difficult that is for all of these different agencies to come together for this stellar rescue effort that we've seen, which has finally ended in success. It has ended in fruition with all 41 workers now being rescued.
Yeah, so it's a combined and collective effort by all the agencies. Nobody can take the advantage that I have done. No, it's a collective effort which was done by all the departments, including PM, PMO, CM, and other secretariat and all the people, all the forces, including NDRF, SDRF, RV, Navy, Air Force, everybody was the experts of all the departments are involved in this thing. Even then, whenever we found that somebody is expert in this operation, so he was called from abroad also.
Yeah.
So all the people from entire area, including the abroad also. So everybody is giving his contribution, and due to that effort, due to their efforts, now we succeeded. Now our flagship is very high, and we have escaped. We have taken out the 41 workers from a dangerous place where it was almost 16 to 17 days. Really a miracle, you can say, is a miracle. And all the efforts came to rescue them. Even then, we can say that God also was involved in this thing.
Yeah.
God gave us the power, the way also, and including all the people who were involved in this nearby area and all these things. Now see, at many times we felt that how the rescue will come, how we will go ahead. So, but we got the this thing way and means, and accordingly the work was done. In the last moment, one obstacle came, and it was also removed. And now third obstacle was that pipe was very high, on very high. So it was very difficult to take out the workers through pipe to come this side.
Yeah.
So immediately this platform was prepared. Platform was prepared on both the sides. So after that, it was succeeded. And because lot of mud and concrete and other things were there in the pipe, so all things were removed, and well in time. I'll appreciate and I'll salute to all the Indian people who involved in this thing.
Okay.
Even then, Mandir, Pujari, your Gurdwara, and all these things, all the people.
Let me also bring in Dr. S.K. Singh.
Including
He's a geologist. Anup Nautiyal is an environmentalist. Dr. S.K. Singh, clearly, now is a moment for everyone to heave a huge sigh of relief. The entire country was watching very closely the twists and turns, the kind of obstacles that the rescuers had to face. Metal obstacles came in their way. They had to get special cutters that had to be brought in from Hyderabad and other different places. Once they got through that, then the auger machine, the auger drilling machine that they were using, that broke. Then they had to manually send in people to clear that debris. And then the final 8 to 10 meters or so, which had to be manually dug by hand, by these rat miners who were brought in from Jharkhand and Bihar. Just walk us through, yes, lessons have to be learned, questions have to be asked, but the manner in which over the last 2 weeks plus, over the last 17 days, every challenge, every obstacle that was thrown at the rescue team, they came up with a solution for it, and they kept pushing hard. Neither did they lose hope, and to credit the workers also, the 41 workers, neither did they lose their high spirits, neither did they lose hope. They always knew that help was at hand. It was just a matter of time. It had to be done right because of the sensitive nature of